Broadway Show is your all-access pass to the biggest shows and stars of the Broadway stage and beyond. I'm Tamsin Fidel. Welcome.
Pick up my suitcase, it's got a decade of heft.
Go make it count now, enjoy the time you have left.
Maybe Happy Ending won big at the Tony Awards, including the top prize, Best New Musical. I sat down with one of the stars of Maybe Happy Ending, Helen J. Shen. Maybe Happy Ending, but it's like maybe happy beginning for you in so many ways.
Oh, that is such a lovely way to put it. I think it's been sort of around a year since I auditioned and did my first callback and found out that I was going to be going on this journey, and needless to say, it's been quite the year of just dream coming true after dream coming true. This is beyond anything I could have ever dreamed. I think even if I had tried to manifest something like this, it wouldn't have been even this good. The biggest dream was even getting to do it for an audience and bringing this incredible story and vision to audiences every night. And I get to do that 8 shows a week. I'm going tonight to do another one, and it just keeps surprising me and continues to teach me lessons about life that I just feel very grateful for. And then to have accolades and outside external validation on top is cherries on top.
What are some of the lessons you think you walk away from just because of the story and because of how different the story is too?
Bringing a show like Maybe Happy Ending, a lesson that I'm learning is that people are hungry and excited to listen to different stories and be surprised and go into a theater not knowing what they're going to expect. And that's been really lovely to bring that gift to people. And then the piece itself has such beautiful musings about mortality and being grateful for the little things in life and the little moments, maybe that seem quiet on paper, but are the little gems of life that we can then point to and really, I think like our Firefly moment is a great example of when we stop to smell the roses and we stop to actually appreciate how beautiful life can be. That's how we can connect with other people.
Where it started on Broadway to where it is right now, could you have imagined that when it came out of the gate?
100% no. No, not at all. I think our tech is so glorious and so expansive and takes us all on such a transporting journey. But the story itself already does that without all of the bells and whistles. It's a wonderful addition to have those things. But when we were in rehearsals, we knew that the story was really special. We knew that Will Aronson and Hugh Park's work was just something that we all really wanted to do right by.
You look at it, and I know there's a lot of young girls that come into New York every single day and are like, okay, that's what I want to do one day. And and you've done that. You've captured that brass ring. What does that feel like? Because there's responsibility that comes with that.
Totally. I feel like I stand on the shoulders of so many who have come before me. I have since been able to speak to a lot of the titans that I looked up to growing up, and their work told me that it was possible for me to pursue something like this. And so I feel that when I go out to Stage Door every night and I see little kids at the stage door who have their minds opened in this way for the first time, that feels really exciting. And yeah, to be able to pursue my dreams and do something like this and sing for a living, tell stories for a living is such a privilege. I feel the weight of like my family's sacrifices. I feel the weight of the fact that there's people championing art and continuing to make that possible for people. And to add to that canon is really humbling. I'm really excited about it.
Who are some of the people that you've looked up to through the years that that might even be on Broadway now? I don't know.
I just saw Lea Salonga this afternoon, and she's a person who I have since been able to tell her how significant she was growing up. I mean, I wore that 10th anniversary VHS tape of Les Mis to its strings. Her Eponine was really a turning point, I think, for me and my family too. My family to say, oh, there is a path. It might be few and far between right now, but it's possible. It's not something that they have to imagine completely out of thin air. And Sarah Bareilles too, who's, I don't know, I love that she doesn't let any boxes or labels limit what she can do. She just lets the work and her passion fuel her and guide her. And so I've loved and since been able to tell her that too, who's come to the show. So yeah, this Maybe Happy Ending has brought all of these titans to me in my lifetime, and I can't really believe that I'm sharing air with them, let alone able to tell them the impact that they had on me.
How's your family feel? What's been their reaction?
They are so thrilled. They're so thrilled. My mom on first preview, which was my Broadway debut, she was in the mezzanine, and she, right after I took my bow, apparently, according to my friend, was running down the stairs, screaming at the top of her lungs, "This is a dream come true!" Everyone being like, "Who's this crazy lady running down the stairs?" It's my mom, everyone, don't worry. They've been so excited. This was beyond their wildest dreams. They were always supportive, driving me to lessons and supporting me, but they also wanted to manage my expectations and didn't want me to be too heartbroken, because it's a difficult industry, and there's many more no's than there are yeses. So I really appreciate their concern for it. But I think, they saw how hard I worked for it, and I think once they knew that I would be okay, they were 150% behind me.
Tony winner Jonathan Groff is on Broadway playing the legendary Bobby Darin in the new musical, Just in Time. Let's send it out to Paul Wontorek.
We're on the 9th floor of the Brill Building, in this beautiful corner office. This is actually the office of John Gore, who is the chairman and CEO of John Gore Organization and owner of Broadway.com and The Broadway Show. This was once the office of Bobby Darin.
Whoa.
According to my sources, maybe 1963. I think he started TM Music, like a music company.
Yes.
And that's the year he got an Oscar nomination.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was probably like a real height of his career moment, like overlooking Times Square.
He's with Sandra Dee at that time.
Yeah, I'm
as
sure
well.
she was in here. And we're just, a block from Circle and Square Theater.
Wow.
Where you're playing Bobby Darin every night. This is a real New Yorker, this guy. What's it like walking, the steps of a man like that?
I know, it's interesting because Bobby Darin was this playboy crooner.
Yeah.
I'm, from Amish country, Pennsylvania. Like, in some ways, we couldn't be more opposite. And yet, from 7 years ago, when I started singing his music at the 92nd Street Y and this thing, I felt this kind of primal connection to him as a performer. And I think that what I connect to him most is this kind of passion and love for the audience and the need to perform. And then his music, I am fascinated. I mean, he came onto the scene with Splish Splash, which is kind of like a late 50s pop tune. And then he took a left turn and went kind of like Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis were the decade before him.
Yeah.
So after getting that pop hit, he then went into standards with his album.
But then many left turns. His career went down so many paths.
Yes, and then it was by the time it was the late 60s, early 70s, he was into the whole folk scene.
Yeah.
And so I also really connected with his ambition of finding a connection to all of those different places musically. He really did it all.
Some way, I don't know how, she'll bring her love to me.
His life story is, wow. He died so young, 37.
Yeah.
It's very easy to look at the story in kind of sad terms. I don't know if that's what we're getting in your Broadway musical. What is it like digging into the story, and how do you look at his story?
When we start the show at Circle in the Square, people are coming into a kind of immersive nightclub environment. Mm-hmm. When we start the show, I'm beginning as myself in 2025 with this audience right now in this theater. As we were developing the show, that felt like kind of the most essential way to start the piece because of his kind of superpower of being in the present moment. I think part of his ability as a performer to be so extremely present was because of kind of the most essential piece of his life story, which is he was born with a weak heart.
Yeah.
When he was 8 years old, he got rheumatic fever, had several bouts with that, and then overheard the doctor tell his mom he wouldn't make it past the age of 16. From 16 to 37, in his mind and in his heart, he was living on borrowed time. And so he had this ambition to make it as fast as he possibly could and to do as much as he possibly could before the clock ran out.
I said a dream lover, so I don't have to dream alone.
But we're really telling a story of joy, and right, it's a concert and it's a celebration.
Exactly. I find it inspiring. What I hope and what I feel when I am inside of the material is this like deep, profound passion for life. Even to feel I'm taking drum lessons, I'm taking piano lessons, and to feel those like pathways in the brain grow and to feel that kind of expansion is so thrilling and makes me feel alive and makes me feel grateful to be alive.
Broadway is still rumbling with the Tony Award-winning Best Musical, The Outsiders.
Here's an exclusive musical performance from the Broadway.com studio.
First they beat us down, one after another. Keep losing ground, nowhere to take cover. They want us out of town. Then who would they beat on? Who would they spit on? Who would they blame it on if we weren't around? Now we're never going back. Everything is lost, and we'll never get it back, 'cause a line's been crossed. Little brother, sorry I failed you. I could not save you. No, I can't even save myself. Little brother, they cannot hurt you anymore. They cannot take anymore from me. If I ain't got you, then I ain't got nothing else. If anything was fair, then you would still be here. Does anybody care? When a creaser disappears, we're never going back. Everything is lost, and we'll never get it back, 'cause a line's been crossed. Little brother, sorry I failed you. I could not save you. No, I can't even save myself. Save myself. Little brother, they cannot hurt you anymore. They cannot take anymore from me. If I ain't got you, then I
Welcome back to the Broadway Show. I'm Tamsin Fidel. Let's get back to it.
Merrily we roll along, catching a dream.
The Tony Award-winning musical Merrily We Roll Along, starring Jonathan Groff, Daniel Radcliffe, and Lindsay Mendez, comes to movie theaters in December.
I've never felt so free as an actor than in this show. And I think that's largely in part to playing these friends and us having this real friendship out there and this trust that we have, because they're both such incredible actors, and I feel so safe, and I feel like we're always just right there, so anything can happen, and like we've got it.
You can both make me laugh so easily. You know exactly like how to make me laugh, or a kind of thing that will. I like when you see a moment of you almost laughing for a second, like it just makes everything. I feel like we have to do even less as actors to communicate the friendship, and it's just there, and we're just like a lot of the show, when appropriate, and sometimes when not appropriate, is us having fun with each other.
To me, performing the show gives way more than it takes. There's no one smarter than Stephen Sondheim in the room working on any production of any Sondheim show ever, but he leaves space in his writing for the humanity of the people that are performing it, and I think the humanity of the ears listening to it. I think that's maybe part of why it feels so personal to see the show and to watch the show, is because he allows that personal connection to happen.
But there's another Merrily coming to the big screen someday. Visionary director Richard Linklater is shooting the film over a 20-year period. It stars Paul Mescal, Beanie Feldstein, and Ben Platt. I talked to Ben about what it's going to take to bring this movie to life.
Where are we with Merrily We Roll Along?
It's just crazy that we're trying to do it, and it's amazing. We sort of have to treat it like little short films that happen every so often, because if you look too far ahead, it's like, how are we ever going to get there? But we have 2 in the can, and we're shooting another one next year, and we just got to truck along, and it's like a crazy sort of like life scrapbook checkpoint of like constantly checking back in with what's changed, who got married, who got engaged, has children. It's such a gift, and it's also a way to just have Sondheim kind of guardian angeling my life for the next 18 years, which is such a gift.
That's a good guardian angel.
Oh my God, the best.
It takes a whole lot of people to keep a Broadway show running, from the stars on stage to the orchestra in the pit and all the people behind the scenes. Here's Perry Sook.
Thanks, Tamsin. Chicago may be the longest-running American musical, but almost as long-running is their partnership with promoter Theater Mama. I'm about to head to Times Square to meet one of the members of the Chicago Dance Mob. All right, so I'm here in the middle of Times Square with a longtime member of the Chicago Dance Mob, Chelsea Logan. Chelsea, how long have you been a Chicago girl?
I've been about 10 years. I'll be celebrating 10 years in June.
What goes into it? You know, are you Fosse trained? What is there rigorous dance training to get the position, or what goes into a day?
We do have to audition for the position, so we have like yearly auditions, also sometimes bi-yearly, depending on the demand. So I auditioned for it, and then we do have yearly training that we have to go to just to practice our Fosse poses, kind of keep us all like on the same base level. I wasn't dance trained, I'm physical theater trained, so it was a whole new experience for me. I was like, whoa, this is different. I learned that it's not really dancing, it's more like moving from Fosse pose to Fosse pose.
Sure.
Because obviously we're out here for up to 10 hours a day, so we can't really be like living our true Broadway life. And then yeah, we're out here in Times Square, it's our office. We're here for 10 hours a day, and we just meet tons of people, various kinds of people, and give them discounts for the show, or we hit up TKTS and promote the TKTS discount.
Now, I know that you are a performer outside of theater. What does being right here in Times Square do to help you, inspire you to, you know, get back into theater, go to those auditions the next day? What does this do for you in your Broadway life?
It's really easy when you're in New York to kind of just like have the day-to-day grind. And so when you're here, you kind of realize through other people's eyes the magic of Times Square, the magic of Broadway, the magic of New York. And so that kind of just is that little fuel, that little inspiration to be like, yeah, I am very blessed to be here. I'm very lucky, and I should be grabbing everything, every opportunity I can. And also just being around theater is just phenomenal. Like I'll see Broadway actors walking to their show, and I'm like, I would one day love to do that.
So what are your Broadway dreams?
Broadway, I would love to be in an original Broadway like play, original cast. I think that plays, especially on Broadway, kind of get overlooked by musicals. And I think that they sometimes have some of the most intense stories. Where I would like to be is something that is going to make someone sit with a problem and like look at the world through different eyes.
And that's going to do it for us. But for tickets, or if you want to see extended cuts of all these interviews, head over to Broadway.com. And be sure to check out The Broadway Show Uncut, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Tamsin Fidel, and this is The Broadway Show.